It's going live. Gonna live switch it.
Oh, you know what?
Bonjour, madame et mademoiselle. Je m'appelle Justin.
Je m'appelle Pierre.
Yeah, that's
Welcome to Paris.
That's the extent of the French that I know. So today is the Paris Games Week Sony PlayStation 4 press conference. I'm Justin Haywald, and I'm joined by Peter Brown.
Hey.
And we're going to be breaking down what things we expect to see out of this, because we know that it's going to be a big show. Sony has already said that there are going to be 7 new games here.
Yes, and those could be big, those could be small. We're assuming there'll be something big, because they're even saying that the pre-show is a big deal, at least they being the people on Twitter who might know things that we don't.
Well, so I think the way that they've said that this is going to go out is at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. PT here in San Francisco. They're going to start off with just, here are the new games. It's going to be an hours-long rundown of 7 new titles, and then the hour after that, they're going to kind of go into a deeper dive into some of those titles, into other stuff that it's coming up, maybe stuff that we already know about. But I think the 7 things that we're going to see are primarily going to be new IP. They're probably going to be stuff that we haven't heard of before, and I think there's going to be a big focus on PlayStation VR.
Yes, if Tokyo Game Show was any indication last month in September, pretty much everything Sony had to show that was new was VR related in some way. And there were some interesting things in there. Not all of them Sony made, of course. We had something like Zone of the Enders VR, which was a huge surprise. Bit of a letdown as well once we got to the show floor and actually had our hands on it. But, we also saw some other games there, including something known as The Inpatient, which would be the prequel to Until Dawn. If you remember, that was the sort of horror movie, choose-your-own-adventure type thing, and now it's getting a VR prequel that I don't know a whole lot about, but it's supposed to be set, I think, like 60 years prior or 40 years prior. Well, I don't know how you do that, but
the thing that's interesting to me on this is that VR has launched in 2017. Like, this has been the official year of VR, but we really haven't heard anything about it. Like, Oculus has had their full headset. HTC Vive has had their headset. PlayStation VR has been on the market. But but we really haven't gotten a lot of games. There still hasn't been that killer app. There still hasn't been that buzz around it. Like
Yeah.
the regular people who I talk to don't talk about VR as something that they're even conscious of.
It's true. I think there was a really big push for a while there, and everyone sort of bought their headsets. And I don't really know anyone who's buying or considering to buy a headset at the moment. Right? It was all around launch in 2016. We are seeing some price drops as well. I think the Vive is now available as a bundle for the same price as it was brand new with certain games. I'm also seeing the PlayStation VR go for about $300, which is cheaper than it was. What did it launch at? Was it 4 or 5?
Yeah, I think it was close. It was almost the price of a full PlayStation 4. It was like $400. But then you also had to think you need the camera, you need the weird controllers.
To move controllers,
controllers.
Yeah.
So one of the big issues is that there are almost always going to be new IPs because you can't just have existing games and just throw them to VR. As much as those are the games that we want, that we understand, that doesn't necessarily work when you just try to translate it one for one in VR, except for Resident Evil 7, which was a pretty amazing VR experience.
Yeah. So looking at Zone of the Enders right now, it's a pretty good example of a game that maybe is struggling to translate what made it decent into a VR experience. You'd think a first-person cockpit view controlling a mech would work well, and I think
had so many of these.
I know we have, and I think the one thing that this game has going for it is sort of the art and the world behind it. But when I played it, the controls were not that great. They weren't that responsive. They were very context sensitive, and sort of the game telling you when that context shifted and when certain controls applied. It wasn't all there, but it was also a pretty early build. Still surprised to see that coming back. Final Fantasy 15 has its own thing, Monster of the Deep, which is a fishing game in VR.
And it shows you that you can't just translate. It makes sense. You can't just translate. You can't take that Final Fantasy 15 experience, put it directly into VR, so you make it a weird mini game.
Well, there is fishing in Final Fantasy 15, but at the same time,
but it's not the crux of the game.
No, and it's also not a super compelling reason to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a VR headset.
Well, you get to hang out with these cool
Noctis,
dudes.
yeah.
Noctis.
Prompto.
Put on some black leather, go out fishing. That's how I spend my summer
How
vacation.
can he preview his selfies when he's got one of those cameras? Yeah. I mean, I think that's just it, right? It's like what is the real draw here? Don't know. Hopefully there's something here that can kind of, I don't know, make me interested in PlayStation VR. Because after Thumper and after Rez, two music-centric experiences, oddly enough, and I guess Resident Evil 7, I can't really think of a reason to go out and buy one.
Well, so when you saw this setup at Tokyo Game Show, which is someplace where I would think maybe this would catch on before it would catch on here in the States, did it seem like a big deal? Does it seem like both Sony's putting a lot into it and there's a lot of interest around it?
I don't know if the interest was super high. A lot of the people that I saw lining up seemed to be business types, and a lot of the people in the VR chairs themselves also seemed to need a lot of help with the demos. So it seems almost like the general gaming audience, even in Japan, is maybe still a little bit lukewarm. I think there is always that hype surrounding launch of new hardware and the excitement around what is it capable of. But I feel like that time has passed. Of course, my experience in Japan was very small, just at the game show. But just even the demos alone, there wasn't anything that stood out as being super interesting. It was sort of like checking all the boxes, right? They had a shooter with cover stuff where you can duck in VR. We've seen that everywhere. They had a Summer Lesson, that game from Bandai Namco.
I think that it's kind of weird and creepy as that game is. I did get to try that a couple years ago. I think at one of the TGSs.
And you loved it.
I did. No, it is. It's it's almost creepy that sense of presence that you get, that someone is leaning in close,
right,
whispering in your ear.
That anime is real.
I thought that was a good use of virtual reality because it's not something that's a normal game. It's not something that I would normally experience in a video game, but it feels like I am talking with another person.
Right, but that's definitely one of those experiences that I think you sort of pick up after the fact, right? It's sort of I'll give that a shot.
Oh, it's not the reason I'm going to buy a PlayStation VR.
Well, come on, Justin.
Is there anything that would make you say this was a great use of do you know what that would be? That I'm glad I got a VR system, that I want to play this at home after work?
No, not necessarily, but I think to your point, having something like Summer Lesson, which is this, maybe not the primary reason you'd want one, but a secondary reason to sort of put the headset on. If there were more experiences like this, the smaller, interesting, things that provided a more distinct experience, then I might be more curious, because I don't need necessarily the big blockbuster game, right? I was talking about reasons to buy a VR headset, but really, I think what it is just the landscape is just kind of sparse.
Yeah, this is definitely not what you would consider a blockbuster title.
Well, it depends on your taste, I suppose, but
There are definitely uses for this that seem like they might go beyond gaming. But
yes.
So
Anyway.
there's going to be a lot more than just virtual reality at this conference. I think that is going to be a big part of what Sony is going to talk about today. But I think we're also going to hear about some of their other upcoming games, maybe things we haven't heard about in a while. And one of them that I'm actually really curious about, because this also, I think, melds a little bit with the PlayStation VR, is Dreams. So Media Molecule, I love Little Big Planet. As problematic as it was from maybe the control schemes, it was such a cool, quirky little idea. And now they're going in a completely different direction with Dreams. And Microsoft kind of had their own similar title like this, where you create your own worlds and create your own game.
That one, Microsoft's version seemed to be much more, let's
Shitty?
say, I'd say intense. A much higher barrier to entry. I think one of the things when they were showing off Dreams that made it so compelling was that it was so intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe that was just sort of the art creation aspect of it. I don't think we've seen actually like how you go about animating and applying different, rules and logic to these worlds that you're creating. But, it's almost like I'm losing the name of it now, but on the Vive headset, and on Oculus as well, there are these various, 3D creation apps where you use a controller as a wand and sort of generate
Like the sketching.
Yeah,
programs.
exactly. And that seems to be at least what I remember of Dreams. The ease of creation when it comes to different models and such. Would love to see how all that translates to the final finished product of whatever you're creating. Maybe we'll see more of that.
Do you think this is going to come out? Like, my biggest fear is that, like, something... we've seen so much of this, and I can't imagine it not coming out at this point, but at the same time, it seems so ambitious that I could also see this dying, that it just is going to be a vaporware title.
I think we'll see it come out. I don't know that we'll see it. I think it'll have the capabilities to let people create things like this. But again, this is in the hands of the creators of Dreams, who are themselves professional game creators. I think what we'll actually see is a set of tools that are maybe simpler than what we imagined, and it won't be as
Robust.
Yes, I think, on face. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make a lot of levels in Little Big Planet?
No. But I liked playing a lot of them. I mean, there were hundreds to choose from, and it's felt like, I think we were both back at 1UP back at that time, and it felt like every day there was some new level that was just like surprising everyone, and that was super amazing.
Oh yeah, like the
calculator,
like how did you come up with these like genius ideas? As a moron, I could not possibly imagine the math that's involved in these kinds of things.
I was just busy. I didn't say I was a moron, but yes, I'm also a moron.
Complete idiot. So one of the other things that I'm excited about that we're hearing rumblings that we might get is Sucker Punch's new IP. So Sucker Punch is the team that did Infamous, like last one's Infamous Last Light, and they've been doing a lot of Infamous, but so finally their ability to go beyond the Infamous series to make something new. Because I was hoping it was going to be a Spider-Man game, and it's obviously not.
Right.
Spider-Man's being handled by Insomniac, but so getting a new IP from Sucker Punch is kind of exciting.
Third-person action game or romantic visual novel?
Both. That's how I like to combine all of my games with
Yeah.
a slight romantic visual novel. It makes the fighting games a little weird, but Ryu is one of my favorite characters.
Where do you fall in their recent work? Did you play a lot of Second Son and Last Light?
Not a lot of it. Enough to get a feel for it. Like, I love their city traversal, which is why I think they would have made such a good Spider-Man game. I'm still really curious to see what Insomniac does it, but what Sucker Punch does with being able to get around a world is really cool, and having that sense of exploring kind of a real city, like they did that so well. Like even better
Insomniac did
than
a
Watch
good
Dogs.
job with Sunset Overdrive, I have to say. But yeah, in terms of what Sucker Punch is doing, it's really anyone's guess if they're doing anything at all.
Yeah, maybe this will turn out to be absolutely nothing,
Yeah.
and we just won't hear about it here. Is there anything that you think that we're going to hear about? So one of the rumblings I've heard is that this is kind of taking the place of PSX, that we're not going to get as big of a PSX this year, and in its place, we're going to get this big Paris Games Week reveals and trailers and all that.
So probably more Shadow of the Colossus. I'm sure they're going to show off some stuff for Horizon Zero Dawn. What is it called? Something in the Wilds? Frozen Wilds. That's DLC coming out next week. I do know that, so of course they're probably going to want to advertise that. But yeah, I mean, the Shadow of Colossus remaster, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I know. Like, where do you draw the line on that? There have been so many and so many more upcoming. Like Okami is the one that immediately comes to mind. You have a lot of these games that are sometimes touching up a little bit, but it looks like with Shadow of the Colossus, they're touching it up a lot. It's
It
more
looks
than
like more
just
of a remake, yeah, than a remaster.
But if it's just the same basic game,
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. But I think, you know, if you look at the way that they're using the camera here looks pretty traditional, but a lot of the stuff we've seen so far, granted this is a cinematic, but other shots make me think that they're reworking a lot of the systems. And I'm kind of curious if it's going to maintain the floaty animations that characterize a lot of Ueda's games, specifically Shadow of the Colossus as well.
and even Last Guardian. So like maybe
Oh,
this
yeah,
is just
yeah.
using the Last Guardian engine or what they put together, like using what they had with the Last Guardian and
It
throwing
could be.
Shadow of the Colossus on
I
it.
feel like Gen Design, the team that Ueda started after leaving Sony during the development of The Last Guardian, I feel like they own that engine, but that remains to be seen. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of that.
And we'll probably see more of just some of the upcoming stuff that's very soon, as we were talking about a little bit. Spider-Man, I
Yeah.
think, is an obvious one for them to show a little bit more of. I feel like they've showed a lot, though. I actually want to see... I don't want to see too much more of this game. I'm not someone who likes to watch trailers. I hate
Right.
watching trailers for movies because I feel like it gives away so much. Like, I'm the person who sits in the theater and will close his eyes and ears so that I don't have to watch any more Thor Ragnarok. Like, I don't want it spoiled. Oh yeah, Thor Ragnarok. I know it's not a movie that you think like, oh no, I don't want you to spoil a twist, but they have good jokes. I don't want those jokes to be spoiled. I want to get them fresh.
Fair enough. I'm a little skeptical about the Spider-Man game, I have to admit. I do have a lot of faith in Insomniac, but watching the combat for this, it sort of reminds me of so many Warner Brothers type action games that maybe I am not in love with. But we'll see. I haven't played it. We've really not seen that much of it yet. I'm just kind of going in.
With like the Batman games.
It just seems like it's very easy to sort of go.
Because
from
you're alone if you don't like the Batman games. Everybody loves the combat in the Batman games.
Not a favorite of mine. The idea of just sort of like jumping to and fro, just based on what the camera picks up as your most near enemy. Whatever, oversimplifying it. But let's see. I mean, these boss fights look good. This game looks really good. If they can put it out looking like this, I'd probably play it regardless.
I mean, you do have to strike that balance, and that's when you have too much control over what you're targeting versus being able to just target what's the most immediate threat.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that scares me a little bit here, is that there's so many button prompts. So it's
Right.
like, is it going to be asking me to micromanage all of this stuff? Whereas I prefer that Batman style or Shadow of War, where it's like, here's your most immediate threat, just run over to it and start kicking its ass.
Even if that means you skate without moving your feet about 20 feet.
How do you think Batman gets around? He's
With technology and money.
So what else is there coming up on the PlayStation 4 slate? Like one of the ones that I'm excited about, but I'm trepidatious. I don't think that we're going to hear are the Square Enix titles.
Yeah.
Like it's been, I think it's been a year since we've heard anything about Final Fantasy VII, the remake of Final Fantasy VII. And that was at
been a
PSX
while.
last year, right?
It's been a while.
Do you think that we would see a new trailer for FF7 episode? Did they have a new name for this yet? Was it just remake?
Episode Uno. No, I don't know. I think
that doesn't make sense.
if
They're not Spanish.
if they really want this to be a big event, putting anything Final Fantasy VII is a very easy way to make it a big event. Even if it's not more gameplay, even if they just put in a cutscene just to
They're only going to show cut. They're not going to show gameplay.
Well, they've shown pseudo early gameplay, so I don't think we're that far off. Like they showed some of how combat might look like, but yeah, just to get people riled up in the crowd, to get the energy up, I think all they have to do is put out a 30-second trailer of Vincent doing his thing, being a fancy vampire. I bet you people would be stoked about that. Yeah, so here's some gameplay.
Yeah. You're right.
Let's see. Other than that,
Well, so the other big Square Enix title is Kingdom Hearts 3.
right.
And
I'm less hopeful about that one.
What do you mean less hopeful? Like,
That we're going to see anything. I don't think we will.
I feel like it's more likely that we would see another stage or another character in Kingdom Hearts 3 than Final Fantasy 7. As much as I want to see Final Fantasy 7 because it's been longer, Kingdom Hearts 3 is they keep showing this off and we have a firm release date. Final Fantasy 7 is kind of a nebulous future.
But it's that card in their back pocket, though.
That's what would make this a very exciting thing to show off here. But are you excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, or are you just kind of soured on the series?
I'm not too interested in the series because I don't really love Disney that much, and Kingdom Hearts just never really did it for me. But I will say that Kingdom Hearts 3 looks to be very, very impressive from a presentation standpoint. And it's one of those games where Square Enix kind of goes off the rails a bit, if you will. And got it. And so I'm curious to see how that all works out. What they've actually been able to do with this game, given the number of years that's been put into it. We obviously saw a similar tale with Final Fantasy 15, which was in development for a little bit longer,
but it paid off.
It paid off. I liked what they did with that game. I think the story suffered as a result of. Oh, actually, I'm not really sure as a result of what, but I think the story wasn't that great. But I think the way that they managed the open world and the combat, two things that I really wanted out of that game, worked out really well. So there is a chance that Kingdom Hearts could win me over through its presentation and perhaps its gameplay alone. We'll see. I'm not a huge Disney guy. You are. Where do you stand on the series?
So I did not expect to like Kingdom Hearts at all because it seems like such a stupid idea. Like, I remember when it first came out and going, Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters, this is dumb. But it just felt magical. Like, as hard as it is to kind of go back to that first game, like, I still remember that feeling of immersion and magic of exploring these two worlds together. It's like, holy shit,
magical kingdom.
It's chocolate and peanut butter. And so Kingdom Hearts 3, as much as the side games are super weird, and I have stopped caring about the lore at all. It's just batshit insane.
Yeah.
I still want to play Kingdom Hearts 3 and like getting to go to the Toy Story world and talk with Woody and
yeah, I have no affection for Toy Story. I don't have
what
a lot
do you mean you have no affection for Toy Story?
Exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I'm a curmudgeon. I'm sorry. I don't know. Give me some dark sci-fi and I'm stoked. We'll see. I'm
like
not
Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
That's dark.
So we'll see. Beyond Kingdom Hearts, beyond Monster of the Deep, beyond Final Fantasy VII, what else could Square Enix possibly show us?
Secret of Mana? No.
Well, maybe some Secret of Mana.
No, I don't. I think they're not going to focus on multi-platform things, and that one is that is a game that's coming to other platforms, right? That's not just PlayStation.
That is just PlayStation.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then we're going to see Secret of Mana.
And there's one more that they have in the car. Oh, the Front Mission game.
Oh yeah.
The one that's sort of based in that universe. I forget what it's called, but it's got Yoji Shinkawa, which is Kojima Productions artist, working for the game. It's got a mech designer from Macross and a few other series working on it. That looked pretty interesting. The gameplay they showed off of that next to the cinematics didn't look so hot. Third-person action game where rather than controlling mechs like you would in a normal Front Mission game, which are typically strategy titles, this is a third-person action game where you're on foot going up against mechs. The sort of list of designers sounds more promising than anything. But
well, speaking of Yuji Shinkawa, someone who's worked with Kojima,
right, Death Stranding.
Are we going to see Death Stranding? Because we didn't see it. We haven't seen it for a while now.
Right. It wasn't at E3.
It wasn't at Brazil.
Right. Despite Kojima being at both events.
I feel like we might. I think he would hold off. I think that this is still like a game award show kind of thing.
Yeah. Him and Jeff Keighley go way back, and that's a very famous friendship. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Death Stranding held off. It's just another 2 months.
But you are someone I think who's probably more tuned into these games. This excitement, like you've interviewed Kojima multiple times. Is this something that you think is going to live up to the legacy of what he's done with the Metal Gear series? Or now that he is on his own, now that he's kind of, in some ways, he's George R.R. Martin. He has the keys to the kingdom. Nobody's going to tell him no. Do you think it's going to be able to live up to what he's created?
It's very tricky. I think a good sort of litmus test would be to look at something like PT. Because we've seen Kojima break out from the Metal Gear series before with things like Boktai. And but Zone of the Enders as well, and I think those were both products of a younger Kojima, and PT is definitely, I think, more in line with the depth of conceptual sort of creation that I believe is going to be pretty heavy-handed in Death Stranding. I think a lot of what we see here is not to be taken at face value. It's all supposed to be sort of intertwined in very strange ways, hence the very dream/nightmarish sort of imagery that's going on here. It's very difficult to explain much of what's happening. So I think, if nothing else, Death Stranding will be a very interesting game, for better or worse, that we're all going to sort of talk about. But we obviously have almost no idea about the gameplay. It involves ropes, but sticks, but not sticks, and maybe not ropes, and it's hard to know.
It involves Guillermo del Toro in the game itself,
giving birth.
Kojima's probably going to be in the game too. Like he's going to put himself in there.
There's a good chance. Maybe Joaquin Mogren will be in there, his alter ego.
So the thing that's hardest to talk about with PlayStation is the fact that I think we're going to get some new IP. We're going to get stuff that we haven't heard of.
Right.
Are there
so
any
you want me to make up some new IP? And,
No, like what kind of experiences are you? Because
Yeah.
so 2017 has been the year of open world games. Like holy crap, have we had so many
I know.
massive? I haven't slept in months because it's just so many worlds to explore.
Yeah.
What's 2018 going to be? Because this might set the tone. Is it just going to be the year of action adventure and things are going to be God of War like?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I would like to see sort of a resurgence outside of the current climate in gaming, a resurgence of just focused single player experiences. Sony's always done a pretty good job of funding and publishing those games. I'd just like to see that continue. We're probably going to see a lot of stuff from other multiplayer titles. Like, what's that zombie game?
That one.
No, the one that they showed off that everyone was like, this
Yeah, the one where there's like tons of zombies running at you.
right. That's clearly very memorable. Like, I feel like we're going to see
Zombie motorcycle hunter.
Zombie Motorcycle Hunter. Days Gone is the name of the game. Thank you, Eric Day. We're not that good at hosting, are we? I
I don't
think
get paid for this.
no. I think we're going to see a couple games that really do support that. Hey, we're multiplayer focused. Hey, we're focused on big open worlds. But I'd really like to see some more narrative, single player focused stuff. So yeah, maybe God of War. But when was the last time we even saw that?
No, we saw that at E3.
E3?
Yeah,
We did. Okay.
so we got a big demo at E3. That was, I think, their leading stage thing. We saw the single player aspect of it, like straight up gameplay. So like, this is something that makes sense for Paris Games Week. But so we've also seen that argument that the developers probably want to move away from single player experiences. Like, I don't think that's ever going to die. It's not going to go away completely. But when you look at the success of something like Destiny 2, like that persistent online world, something that you keep coming back to, versus a one and done game like God of War is going to be, or Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, sure, you have the DLC and you can come back to it for that, but that's nothing like a Destiny where it's asking you to come back every day, or at the very least every week.
Well, they tried with that Suda game that they put out with the skeleton skateboarder dude. You know the one I'm talking
I
about.
have no idea what you're talking
Come
about.
on, yes
What?
you do. The one that came out last year.
Yeah. Let It Die?
Let It Die, my friend. That's sort of the the online MMO-ish type. Get your loot, do your thing. And that game, I know people who play it really like it, but I don't know if it was a huge success.
So yeah, the issue with having too many of those games is that it's impossible to have every game be that, because you just don't have time for, like, I don't have a second job where I'm managing the 5 other games that I'm going to be playing in the evening.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of have the one game that's going to be your go-to, the thing you're going to be coming back to. And then I really love having these one-and-done single-player experiences. Like, I don't know how possible it is to keep creating games where they cost $100 million.
Well, you do something like Hellblade. You do this sort of, the mid-tier game, if you will, although I think that name is doing it a disservice. But budget-wise, yeah, that game was not a $100 million project as far as I'm aware. And they were able to sell it cheaply, and it was a small, condensed, like, really interesting experience. And I think, yeah, people as a whole, like you and I, are probably ready for more games like that because, hey, it makes not only our jobs easier, but our lives easier as well, and it's easier to enjoy our own hobbies. Without feeling like we're missing out,
So back in 2016, I think PlayStation did a big push for indies. Like, that was the platform for indies. 2017, it's felt a lot more like Nintendo. I'm sure we've gotten Undertale on PS4, but I'm struggling to think of what these other smaller indie titles are. And I feel like it's not that Sony's ignored them, but they maybe haven't felt the need to rely on them as much.
Well,
do you think that's going to have a presence here?
They've certainly opened the floodgates on PSN. I think we've seen a lot more games just sort of pop up there, and I think it stands to reason that their publishing is a little bit more relaxed when it comes to indie developers now. So I almost wonder if they don't feel that they need to rely on indie developers to really sell their products. I mean, a game like No Man's Sky was sort of this like banner title that, to an executive, well, it doesn't just like sound great on paper, like what a romantic development story, but it looks good on the screen as well. And I feel like unless Sony can really sort of sell the power of the PlayStation through interesting indie, developments, they might not focus on it too much, because they do have the Xbox One X problem right now, sort of looming overhead.
Well, how do you mean? Like, just having a console that the Xbox One X, as in they have a powerful competitor coming?
They have a powerful competitor coming, and I think right now messaging around their most impressive games is probably going to be their biggest selling point. And again, that might mean VR because that is something that we know the Xbox One X can support, but doesn't really exist for yet. So,
and it's also something that sets them apart. Like they're thinking about this holiday, thinking about 2018. I don't feel like there's a huge differentiator between Xbox and PlayStation. So, like PlayStation has more compelling first-party exclusive titles, but not by a huge margin.
And a lot of those have come out already.
And they're both kind of being one-upped by Nintendo.
They certainly are.
Like it's crazy to think like a year ago that the Nintendo with like flailing with the Wii U is now in such a dominant position review score wise, just in IP that people are interested in and excited about. So like what does Sony have coming up in 2018 that's going to make sure that they maintain their place as number one, because they are still the best selling console in terms of overall numbers.
Yeah, I don't know what that game's going to be. It's really, really tough to say. I don't see a significant system seller outside of, maybe it's just me talking, but Final Fantasy VII and Death Stranding.
I mean, there are so many games I'm excited about in 2018, but as far as games that are exclusive to one console, it's still like my mind always comes back to Nintendo games. Like I'm really excited about games like Monster Hunter World.
What about Detroit 2 Human, Justin?
I think that'll be good. Like I love David Cage games, but I'll play it. I will definitely enjoy it.
Weird. We know it's going to be a little bit strange, but maybe not the thing that pushes PlayStation, as it were.
Yeah, that's not like it's amazing what they do graphics wise. Like that is a showcase of it, especially if they push this like of the PS4 Pro and what like that's able to do.
Do you think they're going to hint at maybe a different model PlayStation?
Surely not.
Surely not?
Do you think that the world is ready for another PS4? Or do you think like we'd get the PS5 and something? I feel like that's a race that is unnecessary at this point.
Well, so that's the thing. It's unnecessary if you think about it in traditional terms. I think if Sony maybe wants to adopt, and Microsoft, and who knows, maybe Nintendo, a more iterative model of their console cycle, we might not see this 10-year gap between models. It might not be defined necessarily by the number attached to your console. I personally wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying I expect it, but I do anticipate that how these models work and when new consoles are rolled out will change in the near future, and it might happen at Paris Games Week.
I think we need another week. Or I think we need another year.
One more week.
Delay it for one more week. I think another year. Then maybe we'll start hearing these rumblings of the next PlayStation. But this year, PlayStation 4 Pro is already 4K capable, right?
It's ish, yes. I mean, it is, but it uses certain technologies to put out a 4K image, though it's not rendering natively at 4K in most cases, if not all, but I think it's just in most. I'm not left wanting anything necessarily from a PlayStation. It doesn't leave me even a regular
device.
one.
I want a port. Like if they're going to announce anything, I want a dock that I put my PlayStation screen into, and I pick it up, and then I play my PlayStation games portably. It would be like a PlayStation Portable, but better.
There have been there were huge rumors about a Vita 2, right? At right before E3.
Yeah. I just don't know.
Well, they would never use the term Vita again. I don't think.
No, never again.
But I wouldn't be shocked if everyone was exploring what Nintendo's gone after in the aftermath, because that thing is selling really well.
And you have to explore. You can't let that go unanswered, but you also have to see. Like, you have to think about the decades of Nintendo's dominance in the handheld market, and that nobody has been able to crack that.
And the PSP did really well for quite a few number of years.
But mostly in Japan.
Mostly in Japan, yes. But it didn't. It even then could not quite topple Nintendo there in that space.
Oh, man, that is exciting, though, to think, like, well, what if there was another Sony handheld and it was something that just allowed you to play PlayStation 4 games? And so, like, even if it's just streaming, like, would you buy a device that's just a handheld streaming device for your PlayStation 4?
Well, you can do that on your Vita.
Yeah, but it's so tiny.
You just want a bigger screen. Okay.
No, I wouldn't buy this. This is a terrible idea.
I mean, like, we've seen a lot of parallels in the Android space. Sony actually has pretty good support over there for tablets, allowing them to stream from their PlayStation Now service and from even your PlayStation 4, and you can hook up Bluetooth controllers. I mean, there's been sort of like hints that something like that will perhaps get more attention down the road, but there's really no telling how successful it's been. And I think it'd be a little premature for Sony to get involved in a competition with Nintendo.
Oh, you have to start early. You have to, like the war has already begun.
The war has already begun, huh?
But I'm actually surprised at the services Sony has been able to continue to offer that I was lukewarm about at the beginning, but now I'm actually pretty excited about. Like, I do enjoy PlayStation Now. Like, that, as dumb as it seemed to stream games, especially like old PS3 games, like, as someone who doesn't want to keep holding on to these old consoles, like that I can't use my PlayStation 3, that I don't want to hold on to these old games, I kind of like just being able to pop in and pop out of a wide library of games on demand.
Do you use it often?
Not that often, but like, I don't use it every day, especially now.
No,
like, it's hard to think about playing anything right now that's not a game that just came out. But especially in those fallow months, like, PlayStation Now was felt really great. Like, I was able to catch up on Shadow of the Colossus and Eco, and before Hellblade came out, I caught up on Heavenly Sword, which is a hard game to go back to.
Yeah.
That was not a great. It reminds you that some of those early PlayStation 3 games also not that great.
Do you think we may finally get PlayStation 1 support on PlayStation 4?
No.
Why not?
No.
There's no reason why not, God damn it. Come on,
That'll
Sony.
be a new service called PlayStation Every Now and Then.
Every now and then.
And that's specifically for PlayStation 1 games that were compatible with the PlayStation 3 on PSN, but are now just through PlayStation Every Now and Then.
Dude, I'll take either or. Just let me put in a disc or use a PlayStation Classic like system. That would be great. I know it's worked out really well for Microsoft in terms of like word of mouth. They went through, felt like 6 to 8 months of sort of like not a whole lot going on, but people are excited about the X. People are vocally excited, at least in my circles, about the backwards compatibility. Like, heard of over the last week, if people are putting it through its tests, like, this works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bad, you know. And I think that's sort of a feather in the cap that anyone would want. Nintendo is still kind of like behind the ball a little bit with Virtual Console, at least on the Switch. Sony doesn't really have any support for old games apart from the random PS2 classics they put out. So maybe something like this would help if they don't, you know, have a whole lot to show. We'll see how big this presentation is.
Yeah, we're going to get some new IPs, and the thing with new IP is that it's hard to gauge how interesting it's going to be, because it's like, here's a new name, maybe from a studio we know, maybe it's from an entirely new studio, and it's probably going to be, here's a cutscene, which is not indicative of, like, well, what's that experience like? But we are going to get to try a lot of these games out. So we have our team, even though we're here in San Francisco, our team in the UK is at Paris Games Week, so they're going to be playing these things firsthand, and so we're going to be able to give some impressions, at least, of hopefully what some of these new titles are and what they play like, and whether PlayStation VR is still something that that they enjoy playing around with.
Yeah, you know, I did have a good time playing Gran Turismo Sport in VR. Despite some strange camera placement, that actually felt really well. But again, it's another one of those experiences. It's just like, yeah, I've done a lot of that. So Sony's gonna have to go, you know, pretty far out of their comfort zone, I think, to get me really stoked about VR.
Did they change the start time for this? Because I thought it was going to be 8 a.m., but I'm looking at the stream now, and it says 8:06, which is incredibly specific and incredibly weird.
So they change it every minute to the next
They just
minute.
keep bumping it up.
Oh, no, sorry. We meant 8:09.
We know Justin and Peter there are sitting and trying to fill time until it starts.
They're just enjoying watching us squirm. That's fine.
So do you want to go to Paris? Have you ever been to Paris?
No. I'd go to the Louvre, although I've heard the Louvre is also somewhat disappointing.
Are there... We haven't really had we have had an Assassin's Creed set in Paris, though, right?
You're asking the wrong guy, dude. I do not play those games. You'll have to tell me.
Because now that we have the one in Egypt. So is there anything else in 2018 on PlayStation that you're looking forward to?
I think off the tip of my tongue, I guess God of War, just because I have to figure out if that game's going to be good or not, because hey, it's a
Are you a fan
deal.
of the God of War games?
I was
previously?
1 and 2, yes, but I sort of fell off the boat. 3 was super impressive when it came out, but I never ended up playing it.
For me, those aren't my favorite kind of games. Like, those kind of fall into racing games, which graphically beautiful. Like, I can enjoy watching them. Action adventure games also just kind of, it always feels button mashy. Like, when there are things that you layer on top of it, something like Shadow of War or Assassin's Creed, like, that's a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
But it looks like this is starting, and so you don't have to listen to us anymore. Let's cut straight over to Paris Games Week.
Starting now. Welcome to PlayStation Live from Paris Games Week. We've got a big show for you here today. Lots to talk about. But first, I want to introduce our crew, starting with you. And you've got a very familiar face.
Really?
Yes.
Where have you seen me before?
Maybe the internet.
The internet?
Yes.
YouTube, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Well, you might have seen me on PlayStation Access in my little YouTube cupboard. This is like, this is a real treat to be somewhere as glamorous as this. We've got like an actual desk. Lovely backdrop, like this has got all the bells and whistles. You know, we're not as big budget as this, are we? I've got my PlayStation Access partner in crime with me as well.
Well, hello, Holly.
The amazing Holly Bennett.
Yeah, they've also let me out of the cupboard
Yes,
for a while. This is
they
really
have.
exciting that we're allowed to have such a fancy arena. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, myself and Rob team up with 3 others to make PlayStation Access, which is a YouTube channel. We're based in the UK, but we make content for everyone.
Yep.
And we literally cover everything from the world of PlayStation. We eat, sleep, and breathe PlayStation.
What's coming up next for PlayStation Access?
Well, anyone who follows me on Twitter probably knows I've just come back from Japan.
Secret things.
Oh, my.
Secret things.
But it is a secret, actually. We can't tell you just yet what we were working on, but very soon those videos will be going
It's
live.
going to be very exciting.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I like
Subscribe now. And
Please.
rounding out our host here, Mr. Ramon Russell, the heartthrob from San Diego studio. I'm so glad you could join us, bud.
I'm glad y'all could have us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like Sid said, my name is Ramon Russell. I am from the MLB The Show development team back in San Diego. Speaking of them, shout out to everybody, all our development team back at home, cranking away on MLB The Show 18. We can't wait to tell you about it, but not today. Today, we're going to talk about all of this awesome content coming to PlayStation 4.
That's right. Now, tell me a little bit about what you do with the MLB team. I know you do some streaming. Tell me a little bit about that.
Right, so I do a little bit of everything. Most of the people on our development teams, we wear many hats. I'm a game designer sometimes. Other times, I'm a community guy. And other times, I'm here in Paris with you guys on this stage, ready to see some really awesome content.
And really awesome content we are going to see starting any minute now. I want to tell you a little bit about what we've got lined up tonight. We're going to have 20+ game updates. We're going to have 7 game reveals. And we are going to be covering a wide spectrum. That's AAA games. We're going to have independent, big ones. We're going to have DLC updates for major titles, big sequels, Final Fantasy updates. I mean, my goodness gracious. And then the PlayStation Media Showcase, and who knows what's going on there. That's just under an hour from now. We've got a lot to get to tonight, and I say, if it's okay with you guys, that we dive right in, and we start off with a reveal. Now, this is a sequel to a game that a lot of people really love, and I want to show the first gameplay of that, and we're going to do that right now.
After 1,000 years, the mask of vengeance has manifested itself again. Who will protect the Mexiverse against the powers of evil? A hero with determination, who doesn't crack under pressure. With a statuesque poise of the old gods.
Guacamelee 2 kicking this off right. I love the first game. So excited to see the Drinkbox is back with a sequel. Coming to PS4 soonish.
I love how precise they've been with the release
I'll
date.
take it.
Getting us really excited. Soonish.
There's a 99% chance it'll come out soonish.
Soonish. And we are going to see some more gameplay of that nowish. And this game is looking super polished.
You saved that one for you didn't show us that in rehearsal.
That's right.
I
keep
saving that one up.
I kept that in my back pocket. So this game is looking super polished, and what we're seeing here, I believe these are the dimensional waves, right?
Yeah, and they allow you to solve puzzles and traverse obstacles. And you can see there, like, there's some hazards in the red dimension, and he's safe in the blue one. It's going to add like a really interesting angle to the puzzling.
Now, if you played the original Guacamelee, you know it's got a robust combat system, and we're going to see a little bit of that here, juggling with those dimensional waves. But you know, the combat in this game is just so satisfying. You've got these luchador, you know, sort of pro wrestling moves mixed up with sort of beat 'em up combat, and that color palette, rounding it all out.
It looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
Look at that. It's even got me panicking now about like how much I'm going to have to practice to get good at this.
And I remember I sucked badly at the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
I was not good at
Chicken.
it.
Okay, so
This is
Say
what we're
what you
here
see.
for.
this is what we're here for. The chicken is back
Chicken
and
is
better
back.
than ever. And this chicken has seen a lot of refinement, a lot of new chicken mechanics on deck here for Guacamelee
Ah,
2
that's what
coming
we
to
want.
PS4. And
This
you
is
know,
what they've been spending all their time on.
I mean,
the chicken.
Yeah.
why not,
Yeah.
right? Wouldn't you? So this chicken here is quite a tough customer. We're going to see that here in a second. But right now we're going to see a new ability unlocked by, I can only presume.
Oh, the chicken oracle.
Yeah.
Chicken Oracle.
I swear that is a fried chicken shop somewhere in South London.
If it's not, it certainly should
It's
be.
the house.
He's telling him, do not get turned into chicken nuggets today.
That's
Not
right.
today, son.
You're going to learn some new abilities.
Well, he isn't going to get turned into chicken nuggets
shot.
with this.
Chicken shot. This is a new ability here for the chicken. This chicken is really a can-do chicken. And this chicken shot, the chicken glide, we're seeing it all here. Now, this chicken shot is also useful in combat. So this chicken is a ferocious fighter.
Crazy
in Guacamelee 2. I love that.
I mean, you would not want to mess with this chicken. Look at
No.
it go.
All chickens in video games are ferocious. I've learned that through my years of gaming.
A
Chickens
murderous
are nasty.
force.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Chickens are
This has
nasty.
got to be the most lethal looking chicken I've seen, though.
Seeing some first gameplay here at Guacamelee 2. And, oh, is this
Co-op.
Is this co-op, I
It is
see?
co-op.
So I do have it on good authority from Drinkbox that there is 4-player co-op throughout the entire game. We're seeing 3 of those 4 players right now. And this is the Mangrove Swamp level.
I can't wait for you guys to carry me.
Grappling hook mechanic here. Looking great.
It really
It's
is.
looks
Guacamelee
fantastic.
2.
I like that.
Wow, great start here for tonight. And you know something? Let's just keep going. I
Get
got
more.
2 more announcements, and we're going to get to both of those right now. That was 2 great new games we just got to look at. I got to say the Gardens Between looking awesome. It's got that art style. It's got the time mechanics. Holly, what do you make of that?
That is completely my type of game. I'm honestly taken with it. I have goosebumps every time that music drops. It's a beautiful single-player, narrative-driven puzzle game, but there's no time pressure on the puzzles, and I really like that. No text or dialogue. The world tells you the story. One button to interact. A lovely game to get into. Genuinely in love with it, and it comes out late 2018.
Nice. So the first trailer that we saw, that was the Hong Kong Massacre, developed by Vresky. Super stylistic trailer that looked insane. It had this like Max Payne, Hotline Miami, a little Blade Runner vibe. And you can expect that coming to the PlayStation 4 in 2018.
Outstanding. So we're going to keep moving here. We got a lot to get to, and frankly, we're running behind. So Loco Roco Remastered, it's out now on PS4. We know Loco Roco 2 Remastered's coming, and right now we're going to tell you when. And that was Loco Roco 2 Remastered, and that's coming out December 9th, finally. Now we know. Holly, I know this is a big one for you.
Yeah, my bathroom is actually decorated with Loco Roco stickers.
She's not even joking.
I'm not actually joking. I loved both Loco Roco games. My PlayStation Portable, my PSP, played them non-stop. I love eating. And me and the Loco Roco games have that in common. If you've never played Loco Roco before, you play this lovely little creature, you roll around, you eat the flowers, you get bigger, you complete puzzles. Sometimes you have to be a certain size to be able to complete them. And you sing to wake up magical creatures. And it's utterly charming. I basically love Loco Roco. So Loco Roco 2, there's going to be new collectibles, new characters. It's in 4K on PlayStation 4 Pro. And pre-order start today.
Outstanding.
Nice.
So, Holly, I know you're also a big fan of The Sims.
Yeah.
And I think we've got an update on that one.
Yes, we do. We know The Sims 4 is coming to PS4 in November. I'm, like you said, a huge fan. So we have a first look at the expansions that are coming soon. So I say we just check it out.
And that was The Sims 4. It's coming out in November on PS4. And now I have a confession to make. I've actually never played a Sims game.
Are you for real?
Yes, 20 years almost.
Shame.
Shame.
Ring the bell.
I will say, I did get a chance to check it out on PS4. I spoke with the developer, and I think this might be the one for me. It's time to dive in. So what they've done is they've basically tried to capture the entire Sims 4 experience from the PC, and instead of kind of reconstituting or boiling it down or doing something else with this is really the pure version, and it's been just reworked with the UI in mind. It's going to have a much easier UI than we've seen. It's going to have all the free updates that they've rolled out to the PC. So that's toddlers, you got your pools, your careers, and I have it on good authority that future PC free updates are also going to make the jump to PS4. So
it's good to hear.
Good stuff.
I think that's really exciting. I think what's really important here, it's not a reimagining, it's not reconstituted. I think I last played The Herbs on PS2, and those games weren't like traditional Sims games, and that's really what people want. So, as Sid said, exact same game, but with PS4 friendly UI. That's what you want. And of course, course, it's launching with all the fan favorites like city living and vampires, etc.
Are you going to be cruel to your Sims, Holly?
Yeah, probably.
Don't lie.
I mean, it starts with about 3 hours of building a house, and then you just cruel to them for the rest of it.
And lock them in a room with a refrigerator and
Outstanding.
a door to get out.
Don't give my secrets away.
Yeah. So, hey, we're keeping a pretty quick pace on today's show, and we've got yet another game update to share with you right now. And, Rob, I got the sense you were kind of fired up for this one.
I am massively excited about this one. When I first heard this was coming out, I literally was jumping for joy. Like,
And Rob doesn't jump for anything.
no, not for anything. So I believe we're going to have a little look at Tennis World Tour. Let's check out the trailer right now.
And that was a new look at Tennis World Tour. It's coming to PS4 next year. Rob,
Yes.
thoughts?
I am super hyped for this.
Yeah.
Like, Holly can attest to this. I've been wanting a tennis game on PS4 for forever.
Yeah.
Like it's been way too long since we've had a good, proper, deep tennis sim. Like the last one I really got stuck into was a Topspin 4 on PS3. I played that so much I was one trophy away from platinuming it. And I understand some of the devs from Topspin 4 are working on Tennis World Tour.
That's true.
And there's going to be, I think they've got 30 licensed players so far. There's a full-on career mode, and it's really focused on the simulation of it as well. So if you're after that deep, really sim-heavy tennis game, this is going to be the one for you. I think MLB has got some competition now
All right.
in the simulation department.
All right.
We'll fix this after the live stream.
yeah. We'll handle this after we're done.
Well, the excitement is palpable, and I want to just take a quick status check, just take a moment to catch our breath here. PlayStation's media showcase here at Paris Games Week is just about 30 minutes away. So you know that's going to have some good stuff, and we're going to be cutting live to that right after this program. And we are running a bit behind. We've got a lot to get to. We've got a lot of announcements. We've got reveals, updates to share right here. And I want to kind of bring the conversation back to PlayStation VR because it's just celebrated its 1-year birthday.
Ah, Pembley Tapis.
That's right. More than 100 games out there for PlayStation VR. Tons more due for 2018. Ramon, what's your favorite PSVR game?
Resident Evil.
Yeah?
Scared the living crap out of me. I played the first few minutes regular on my television, then I popped on the PSVR. Completely different experience. I can't lie, I'm a scaredy cat, so I tried to get the shotgun and leave the house, but that didn't really work out.
Did you finish it?
We're not going to talk about that today.
It's all right, Rob didn't either, so I wouldn't
No, I
worry
didn't either.
too much.
It's way too scary, but a game I really enjoyed. And I'm not even a massive Trekkie,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed playing Star Trek Bridge Crew. We played it in the PlayStation Access office, 4 of us all playing.
Yeah.
You each have like a different role on the bridge. Like I was the helmsman, Dave was the captain, and you have to really coordinate to achieve your objectives. And it's like the ultimate wish fulfillment if you're a Star Trek fan, being able to be in Star Trek. It was just a really immersive experience, exactly what PlayStation VR is good at. Amazing game.
You literally did nothing but squabble. It was a video of you squabbling.
didn't.
Now, while you like to sit, quietly on the bridge, this is my jam. Give me a gun, give me giant alien spiders, and let me go to town on them. I really enjoyed Farpoint. I think as well it also had the aim controller. And I just had that feeling that if anyone should walk into a living room when I'm playing Farpoint, I might look slightly more badass while in my pajamas because I've at least got the aim controller. Played it in co-op as well, which just means you and a friend can bicker while you try and take on the aliens. It's everything I wanted.
Very exciting, but this is the highlight for me. This is super hot VR.
Oh, look at Sid playing.
Look at
Adorable
me.
playing that.
Tiny Sid down there in the lower corner of your screen playing super hot VR. I loved it on PS4, but on PlayStation VR, just so immersive. Like we're all cackling like goons, as I do all of this. Like I'm blasting these guys. I'm throwing ashtrays at them. I'm throwing phones at them. Dual wielding here like some sort of John Woo movie. It's just a riot. I mean, it's just pure fun. So much fun. And that's sort of some of the highlights for PlayStation VR that are out now. Enough about me, enough about us and our favorites. It's time to take a look at the future of PlayStation VR because there's a lot of great games coming. We've got 2 of them to share with you right this minute, so let's check it out.
It takes more than a fancy airship to make it in the arena. It takes a fearless captain and a steady crew. Join today and experience heart-stopping thrills, life or death battles, fight alongside your heroes, or take them on. Wealth and glory can be yours. Do you have what it takes?
That was 2 brand new games revealed for PlayStation VR, both scheduled for release in 2018. Now, looking at Bout of Blood, Rob, you're a Star Trek Bridge Crew fan. I kind of thought that might be kind of up your alley.
I mean, for me, that's what PlayStation VR is amazing at, letting you experience things that you're never going to experience anywhere else. And so, piloting a really high-tech airship in Bout of Blood, yes, that is probably right up my alley. Like, it's a really unique game as well. It's set in this kind of fantasy reality TV show. We've got other contestants or enemies, and you can betray them, or you can make allies with them. And also, it's procedurally generated as well. So every time you play Bout of Blood, you're going to be getting a completely new experience every time. But for me, it's just, you know, airships. Airships in VR. That's what it's about for me. Absolutely love it.
There's also Megalith. We got a quick look at that one, Ramon. What do you think of that?
That was the first trailer that we saw. So Megalith is actually an action-packed shooter.
Yes, it's a hero shooter.
It's a hero shooter. So you're a Titan trying to become a giant god, has destructible environments, you get free locomotion. It's also coming out in 2018, and the development team behind it are full of multiplayer veterans, and they're excited about what they can do in VR, which also makes all of us excited, because with VR you're going to have totally new experiences, loads of innovation, so we can't wait to see what everybody's going to do.
Absolutely, and one of the great things about PlayStation VR is new experiences, but also putting a fresh perspective on familiar ones. So in that note, let's take a look at Ultra Wings VR coming to PSVR.
You are cleared for takeoff.
That sprint vector, my goodness, I've got the vapors. I mean, what do you make of that, Holly?
I loved it. It reminded me of a manga I used to be really into called Air Gear, just because of the rollerblading. As a game, it's already had tons of press attention. The devs have said, no, you can comfortably run, jump, climb, and fly, because it's very action-packed on its obstacle courses. And they have something called fluid locomotion. That is what they're coining for this.
Fluid, indeed. And we also just checked out Ultra Wings VR. That's also coming to PlayStation VR. It's an open-world VR flight game, lots of courses and challenges. Interesting that you use the PS Moves to pilot the craft, bunch of different crafts. They're saying 30 hours or so to get all the gold medals, so
that's hardcore.
Robust experience there. Keeping it moving on the PlayStation VR front. We actually do have an update to share right now around a favorite that was announced at E3. Now, if you watched the E3 PlayStation Media Showcase, you saw a quirky, delightful little game called Moss.
Yay!
And we're delighted to say that this one is actually coming out February 2018, so we can finally announce that. Ramon, you got a chance to play it.
Yes, I did. The developers at PolyArc were so kind to send me a build that I got to play last week. I'm loving this game. So you control this mouse. Her name is Quill. She got this little sword, this awesome little like leaf thing on her arm, which is kind of cool. And what's really awesome about this game is the fact that you're using the analog sticks to control Quill, but when you're doing the puzzles in 3D space, you're actually using the motion controller on the DualShock 4 to grab
So like
cool
pull
things.
things back. And
Yes,
Oh,
like
so you're
exactly
actually grabbing
seeing
that
in the
block
video.
there?
Yep.
Man, it looks amazing.
I'm really
So you get to
impressed
control
by this.
both the kind of the puzzles and Quill at the same time.
Exactly, at the exact same time. I really, really love this demo that they sent me. This game is going to be so awesome. I can't wait to play it. And it's a dungeon crawler with a little mouse.
It's a little tiny mouse named Quill. So cute. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the things I just love about VR is just new ways to interact. I mean, that's kind of, I think, deep down what we all look for in gaming, and something that PlayStation VR actually well positioned to provide.
Ooh, combat, right?
Here's a first look at some of the combat. So you see Quill's going to take care of these little red beagles. So what's awesome is with the DualShock, you can freeze some of the enemies.
So you're doing both.
You're doing both at the same time.
That's cool.
And does it feel like easy to do both at the same time?
Yeah, I
Is
didn't
it
have
intuitive?
trouble at all controlling Quill or some of the puzzles at the same time.
That's really nice.
So you're pulling up
Pull
some
those
stairs
steps up,
there.
turn them around, and control Quill to get her to run all the way up.
Oh, man, I would have played this non-stop if they'd sent me that demo.
That's awesome. So this is coming out February 2018. Pre-order start very soon.
Wow.
That's right. Well, thank you for that hands-on report there, Ramon, on Moss. It's coming February 2018. Very excited about that one. Here's an update on another title that was announced for PlayStation VR at E3. That's Star Child. We've got a brand new trailer, and there's, well, I'll just leave it to the trailer. Let's check it out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Bettner. I'm the founder and CEO at Playful.
And I'm Kynan Pearson, the director of Star Child. Star Child is a cinematic platforming adventure game. You play as Spectra, a traveler who crash lands on an alien planet during an important mission.
You're about to see one of Spectra's unique abilities here today for the first time. We hope you enjoy this global debut of our new trailer.
Brand new trailer for Star Child here. We just debuted, and I gotta admit, guys, I'm a little puzzled by this unique ability. Any ideas?
It's
Like, what
left
was
me
that?
with more like questions than I
Yeah,
have
more
answers.
questions than answers in that.
It looked like she was projecting herself out of her body and manipulating, like maybe astral projection, I want to say.
It
Is that what
sounds
it's
good.
called?
All right.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Maybe telekinesis?
Maybe, yeah.
Something, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, huh? So lots more to come here on the show, and we haven't even gotten to the PlayStation Media Showcase, by the way. So we are going to have a big Final Fantasy update for you at home. We're going to have a big update for more VR. We're going to have more game announcements, and then, of course, that PlayStation Media Showcase that's coming really, really soon. I want to check back Before we move on, though, on one of the year's biggest PlayStation VR titles.
Resi 7?
Yes.
Surely.
Resident Evil 7.
I mean,
Excited for
they
you,
don't
Sid.
come bigger than Resi 7 on VR, I don't think. And the exciting news is there is new free DLC for Resi 7 coming in December.
Free 99?
Free 99 is free. Even more exciting, it stars fan favorite Chris the Muscles Redfield. Everyone loves Chris Redfield. He's just, I mean, it's going to be an awesome new take on the Resi 7 formula, and it's entirely playable in VR, again, just like the main Resi 7 game. Redfield is like an action hero, so it's going to give a really different spin on the gameplay to Resi 7, I think, and we can have a look at the trailer for the Not a Hero DLC right now.
Lucas, you'll pay for this.
You're going to fail, and then you are going to die.
And Lucas Baker, right now he's our only link to the connections.
He's next on my list.
We didn't get much from the first unit before we lost contact.
Luke is a fucking psycho. Not sure what's worse, him or those things. We gotta get out of here. Oh, fuck. You gotta be kidding me. Fuck! 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 Get the thing off me!
Please tell me what I'm looking at.
I have no idea. It's something new. Exercise extreme caution.
Christopher, still with us, I see. Very impressive, my friend. Very impressive. Let's just see how impressive you really are.
You're going to need to proceed with caution. Extreme caution.
Oh, well, that's different. Like I haven't been since we got here.
Brand new look at Resident Evil 7's free Not a Hero DLC. Rob, I know you're a big fan of Resident Evil. I mean, it's just one of the best of the year.
It is. I think it's in my top 3 of the year.
Yeah.
I spent the majority of Resident Evil 7 hiding and or running away from things. I think now I'm playing as Chris Redfield. I'm going to be punching stuff in the face.
Right in the face.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Now, Ramon, I'm told you're a big fan of Halloween.
I most certainly am. I love Halloween. And actually, we have 2 PSVR games launching in time for Halloween. Let's take a look at this spooky pair.
I will now teach you the ways of our art.
two wildly different takes on the horror genre. I guess that's fair to say, right, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, Stifled looks absolutely terrifying. Also, like nothing I've ever seen either. From the trailer, it looks like you have to kind of make noise to paint a picture of the world around you, but at the same time, that noise could attract things that you don't quite want to be attracting.
Things that go bump in the night, maybe.
I think we should make Dave play it.
Yeah. I think
he would absolutely love that game. If you're watching Dave, you're going to be playing Stifled very soon. Dead Hungry also looked awesome, though, Holly.
Dead Hungry, as we've already learned through my love of Loco Roco, suits me just fine because I enjoy food. It's from Pixel Junk, so you know it's kind of going to be crazy. The idea is the zombies are really hungry, so you're making fast food and literally lobbing it at them to cure them, actually.
Cure them.
We're not trying to kill them or harm the zombies, we're trying to make them better. It just looks like Pixel Junk madness. Like, you can create different burgers by throwing things together. I'm in.
Throwing French fries at zombies.
Yeah, I'm sold.
So that's 2 PlayStation VR games coming out tomorrow in time for Halloween, which is awesome. There's another PlayStation VR game coming out very soon, League of War, and I believe we can see a trailer for that right now.
All right, that was League of War. I'll tell you, those two look like they were having the time of their lives on that couch. I mean, they were all grins and smiles and horseplay. But is it RTS or tower defense, or what is it, Ramon?
It's a little bit of both. So League of War, you can grab a tank, pick it up, and drop it on the battlefield and watch it go and blow stuff up. And who doesn't want to do that? So it's going to have a really, really nice single-player campaign, tons of different generals to choose from, and I really like the use of the social screen.
Very cool, very cool. So is that it for PlayStation VR then?
No, because you promised.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
You promised me that I could talk about Monster of the Deep Final Fantasy 15. Unsurprising, I'm a massive Final Fantasy fan, and I'm really excited to get to show you a little bit more. I've got to play a bit of it, and I got to speak to Tabata-san recently as well with PlayStation Access.
So here it is.
Here it is. Now, before I talk about anything else, it is a standalone game. So you don't need to own 15. It's not DLC. It's a standalone game for PlayStation VR. So for anyone who's played the game, you'll recognize some of the locations, but I have been told there's some new ones as well, which is quite exciting because it's a beautiful world. Now, just like it is in 15, it feels quite similar to playing the fishing in 15, almost like, it sounds daft, but what the VR would be for the fishing in 15. Different tackles, baits, different rods and lines, put them all together to create the right rods for catching different fish in different locations at different times.
Do they include a VR fish cleaning mini game?
Could you imagine? That would be, have you ever had fish? That's awful.
We've got chocobos now, Carl.
Look. Yeah, so anyone who played Final Fantasy 15's online beta for Comrades will recognize the character customization. It has incredible customization. Best RPG hair I have seen in a long time.
That's important.
You'd expect nothing less from Final Fantasy.
I'm a character customization connoisseur, Rob. You know this.
Yes, I do.
The hair is beautiful. It also features some of the characters you'll recognize from the game. You already saw Cindy. Now, when I spoke to Tabata-san, he told me that the whole team is in it. Ignis, Noctis, Gladio, Prompto. And it actually takes place within the Final Fantasy 15 game. It takes place quite early on. You're basically going out, you meet the guys, and they're like, hey, why don't you come fishing with us? You can come and camp with us as well. The character customization here is stunning. I think the biggest takeaway for this for me as a huge Final Fantasy fan is this VR game here put me into the world in a way that not even Final Fantasy 14 does. It really allows you. You're at the camp with the guys. You're able to steal food off Noctis's plate, and he'd like try and bat you away.
That was like the coolest thing in Final Fantasy 15, the camping. So to be in that is going to be like a massive wish fulfillment.
It really was. It gave me something that fanfiction.net has never been able to. It really put me into the world. But it gets better. I'm still allowed to talk about Final Fantasy 15 for more.
There's more.
There is. Final Fantasy 15 episode Ignis. We know it's on the way. He is best boy. Do not at me. It's not a discussion. But I'm really excited to be able to show a new trailer for that with some new details. And I can also reveal that the guest composer is Yasunori Matsuda of Chrono Trigger, which everyone knows. Final Fantasy and music go hand in hand. So I guess we should just get going. Please enjoy the Final Fantasy 15 Ignis trailer.
Listen well. A king cannot lead by standing still. A king pushes onward always, accepting the consequences and never looking back.
Tell a bloody thing from here. Let's make for the altar. Yeah.
Well, look who it is. What could one of His Majesty's royal retainers be doing here of all places?
Bloody hell.
Join me. I can secure us a way to the king and the oracle.
Part of me always hoped that I might see you happy one day. Your burdens lifted, free to live and love as you please.
Oh, what good is a world that only ever lets you down? Why not end it all right here?
I swore an oath to stand with Noct and keep him safe. Whatever it takes, I will protect him.
Permit me to make a suggestion. Rather than follow this flotsam and float away to a watery grave, why not come with me? What do you say?
Collector Pilot H45H1M with the daily status report. Smooth sailing and nothing but sunshine.
All right, and that was Invector, actually a game that was announced right here at Paris Games Week about 2 years ago. Ramon, what did you make of that?
A very awesome game in a tradition of like amplitude, frequency, a little thumper in there. It's awesome, and it is coming to PS4.
Yes, it is.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm taking back over because that
all
episode
right, come on, all right.
Can't stop talking about Final Fantasy.
No, I'm allowed to talk about Final Fantasy. No, it looks incredible, and for anybody who knows, it takes place in Alticia. I don't want to give too much away, but anyone who's played that game, Chapter 9, right? Chapter 9. And it fills in basically what happens. And I don't know if you saw it. The ring? You put the ring on.
Let's not give away any spoilers. But we are finally going to get to find out, a big thing about Ignis' story that until now has been a complete mystery.
I mean,
so it's going to be awesome.
There's many, many people speculating on Tumblr, let's put it that way. So who knows?
I can only imagine, right? So great show so far. I mean, I think we brought some significant updates here. Favorite moment, real quick to call it out?
The Hong Kong Massacre. That game looked insane. I can't wait to play that.
Yeah. What about you, Holly?
I think it was Gardens earlier on. No, sorry, I've forgotten the full name of it. But
the Gardens Between.
Between, that's the one.
That's
Thank
right.
you. So I know everyone thinks I'm going to say Final Fantasy, but Garden Between, I don't know. There's something about that. That's my jam. Hit good, personal, deep stories.
Rob? It looks beautiful. I mean, for me, it's got to be the tennis. Tennis World Tour.
Not surprised.
I keep going on about it, but I've been waiting for a really deep, good tennis game for so long. So to have Tennis World Tour coming is proper exciting, and I was, massively hyped for that.
Got to say, for me, it's probably Guacamelee 2. So glad that we can get that out there. It's coming soonish. It looks gorgeous. It's got the 4-player co-op throughout the entire campaign. It's got enhanced chicken mechanics.
Chickens.
I mean, the chicken is the highlight of the show, right? That's why everyone's here.
Finger licking good.
Shop.
I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that.
Put that in.
That's right. That's right. So hey, we are almost out of time. That big PlayStation Media Showcase is right around the corner, and who's to say what's going to happen then? But we do still have 2 more games that we need to announce. So what do you guys think we should do about that?
I think we should announce them.
Should we?
Yes.
That's actually a good idea.
Plan.
Yeah, that's my grand plan.
So let's kick it off with the very first game we're going to be announcing, and we'll do that right now. And that was a first look at O-Ray. O-Ray, by the way, is how that's pronounced, if you were wondering. Really just magnificent, gorgeous-looking game, and it's actually coming out a little later today on PlayStation Store.
O-Ray out today.
There you go.
I've been saving that.
I've been saving that.
Beautiful. I thought it was incredible to look at. I got real Journey, Abzu-esque vibes from it. It's totally, again, my kind of thing. I really believe with gaming, for me personally, I was very AAA only. I never really considered indie. And then I started adding that in, and I feel like I always compare it to having a balanced diet.
Yeah.
And it's like
a balanced gaming diet.
A balanced gaming diet, and these are the kind of games for me that balance it out. So in this particular game, you're exploring the world as a child that can turn into a dragon. You've already seen that in some of the B-roll.
That's an easy sell, isn't it?
I mean, it's really easy to sell. The idea is there are these titans within the world, and they have very important jobs, but for some reason they've stopped doing their job. So you're trying to convince them to basically go back to work by doing, going through the world, solving puzzles, exploring. There are mysteries within the world for you to uncover as well. I think it's beautiful, and I'm so excited that it's actually going to be available, today.
Today.
You love the look of this, then you can pick it up.
Buy now.
It does
That's what I
gorgeous,
say.
Doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely stunning.
What you said about Journey and Abzu is, I think, on point.
Really is.
Getting those kind of vibes from it.
I think it's just so nice to see games like this as well coming out. And if you're looking at this and you go, I don't play indies, I was the same as you. Please just give one of them a go. Maybe you'll discover a whole new library of games. And what's wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, that is beautiful. So, hey, that was O-Ray, and I gotta say, I think we had a lot to talk about here tonight. And I want to thank, actually, all the independent developers, all the publishers who worked with us to put this show together. It's an honor for us to be able to debut and your titles and to be able to provide all these meaningful updates and just exciting stuff all around. But I gotta say, that PlayStation Media Showcase, is right around the corner. I want to make a shout out, though, to everyone watching live. We've got a lot more to come after the showcase. If the showcase ends, there's more to come. We're going to dive deeper into all those games that you saw at PlayStation Showcase, all the new stuff you see there. Are you excited, guys? You excited?
Yeah. I mean, massively excited.
Yeah?
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
These moments where we all come together, the audience is already in, you can feel the electricity. I already know from people watching at home as well.
Because we have absolutely no idea.
Oh, yeah, no,
I don't know what we're about to see.
They keep it under lock and key here. It could be anything.
It's like a big sporting event. Like, it's the kind of nerves you feel, like ready to see something epic and amazing.
And
I can't wait.
Who knows? I mean, it's literally a couple of minutes from now, and we're going to be cutting to that live here in just a couple of minutes. But first, we do have one other thing we wanted to share with you. Now, this is one I've been dying to talk about all night long, but I've had to restrain myself.
Not yet, sir.
That's right.
You can talk about it now.
And just a handful of seconds from now, we're going to talk about and show first details on a brand new game that's from an independent studio, and it's the it's a new title from a developer that's actually rather celebrated. So I would suggest that we cut to that now, and for all of you watching at home, enjoy the show.
Samurai. You are a warrior. I can see that. You trained your whole life for this. And you have won battles that lesser men have called unwinnable, yes? But while you were sharpening your sword, do you know how I prepared for today?
I learned. I know your language, your traditions, your beliefs, which villages to tame and which to burn. So I'll ask you once again, Samurai, do you surrender?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jim Ryan.
Wow, what a great way to open Paris Games Week. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's now 5 years since we launched PlayStation 4, and I still have the honor to unveil a brand new AAA game, the astonishing Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch. And you know what? That's not the last surprise that you're about to get. You've seen the power of PlayStation 4 provides you not only with immersive storytelling, but also allows developers to fulfill their wildest dreams. The great news is that these developers are now extracting more and more power from the machine with increasingly spectacular results. That's why a single creative mind like Toby Fox can deliver one of the year's biggest hits in Undertale. Why a small studio like Ninja Theory can take you on a thrilling personal journey with AAA production values in Hellblade. And our own worldwide studios can bring alive Horizon Zero Dawn's breathtaking wilderness in dynamic 4K resolution and HDR. Furthermore, you can expect innovative new dimensions in gameplay as we continue to explore the possibilities of virtual reality. The bottom line is that there is so much power and potential packed into PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro that innovation will continue to accelerate and proliferate in the coming months and years. With more than 225 games offering graphical enhancements on PlayStation 4 Pro and more than 100 games compatible with PlayStation VR, PlayStation is already the best place to play. As we will show you tonight, it's thrilling to think there's even more to come. While we continue to focus on bringing you the games you love, we're also focused on expanding the PlayStation community. We're excited about innovation like PlayLink, highly social, easy to play, localized, and fun. We've been thrilled with the success of That's You, with over 3 million downloads to date, and see more social and family-oriented games give us an opportunity to expand our reach and amplify our mission to be the best place to play. The past 20 years have seen trends come and trends go. We're still here, stronger than ever, and well-positioned for the future. The ecosystem of today will be more powerful, more engaging, and more immersive tomorrow. The maturity of the gaming industry is an incredible asset to a dynamic and exciting future for PlayStation. Ultimately, words mean little. Action is everything, and the proof is in the journey into the extraordinary worlds of new titles and new experiences that you're about to enjoy. I think you'll agree that the best place to play just keeps getting better. So let's take a look at some of the most sought-after, exclusive content our industry has ever seen.
been watching you, Erica. I've been watching you for a very long time. They've been watching you too. They've been waiting very patiently, and now they've come for you. Just remember, don't break the seal. If you break the seal, I can't protect you.
It's been ripped apart by an unknown force.
Your chains will not hold me down. The breaking falls to the ground. Can't tame these lions inside. The power is raining like thunder, ready for a fight. These lions inside. These lions inside.
Hello? Where am I?
Let the games begin. Your chains will not hold me down. Break and fall to the ground. Can't tame these lions inside. The power is raining like thunder, ready for a fight. These lions inside. Can't tame these lions inside.
Come to see what's biting, have you?
My name is Ryan Marks. I left London to be a soldier. But then they came for my family. Now I'm back, and everything just got a little bit complicated.
I'm a professional soldier, don't take bad man for a joker. I don't wanna do man over, but I'm raw getting closer and closer. Get shit resolved, I'm quick, no glamour and glitz, just glamour and grit. I'm on my ting, won't quit, I'm a real bad man, I get a bad man hit. Wow, rage, I'm coming for you, I get this result, I'm coming for you, show no regrets, I'm coming for you.
Start talking, you're fucking dead.
Wait, listen, it was all his idea. He wanted... Fuck me! Today a legend is born, ready for vengeance, ready for war, ready for anything, ready for more. My English gangster, I'm ready for sure. I'm a rage, I'm coming for you, get this result, I'm coming for you, show no regrets, I'm coming for you, cold-blooded revenge, I'm coming for you.
As PlayStation VR marks its first year in the market, it's really moving to see how development teams are starting to see the raw power of this game-changing technology. We're witnessing the birth of new styles of gaming, storytelling, and visceral experiences. The future of PlayStation VR is extremely bright, and we look forward to unveiling more in the near future. One of the consistent factors in our success over the 4 generations of consoles has been the unwavering support of our partners. We were delighted to feature a massive amount of indie and VR content in the pre-show, and now it's time to showcase 6 games, all of which offer features and benefits unique to PlayStation from some of our most valued partners, all of whom we've been working with from the very beginning. Let's start with a new trailer from our friends at Ubisoft.
Folks, it's a beautiful sunny weekend in Hope County. How will you be spending your time outdoors? Eden's Gate is still causing trouble.
Imagine me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it has to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together. I can't see nobody but you. You're all my life. When you're with me, the skies will be blue. You're all my life. So happy together. How is this weather? So happy together.
Guardian, what I'm about to tell you stays between us. While we have been fighting, an ancient gate has opened on Mercury, and an army of past and future machines amasses. They intend to reshape the universe in their image. But there is one who has glimpsed this dark future. He was my mentor, Osiris, the most notorious Guardian in Vanguard history. Once, his dangerous ideas nearly destroyed us, and he was banished. Now he has returned, but will he be a powerful ally, or bring us death? You are the one thing they have not foreseen. Go to Mercury, and find Osiris. Time is not on our side.
Scatter! Keep moving! Kommt aus der Deckung!
All turret gunner inbound. Target zone confirmed.
Buy the season pass and get the Carrington bonus map.
We had that thing that everybody wants. Good time in a hospital, be real strong. Good man, good love, take it from the line to
Get ready!
target, watch out! Give them everything we've got!
The Empire's time has come.
Thank you to all our partners. It's a real privilege to have your titles on our platform. A key differentiator for PlayStation is its best-in-class development teams that make up Worldwide Studios. We have a great lineup of exclusive games coming soon, only on PlayStation 4. Let's take a look.
With Fisk behind bars, what's next?
And the city's safer than ever. Maybe Peter Parker can have more of a life.
Are you in trouble? Do you need money?
No, I mean, I'm a little behind on my rent, but no, I'm fine.
Take care of this place. It represents the best part of me.
It's Miles. He's gonna be helping out around here.
For acts of extraordinary bravery.
I'm the one who kept order in this city!
What is this? Devil's breath.
Your city and everything you care about will be destroyed. The people will beg you for help, but you won't be able to save them.
Get more backup. Wait!
We've got to play this just right.
Please stop! Maybe the city needs our friend more than you think.
Anyone else need a breather?
You've been gone for 2 weeks, so the place is a mess. You do the housework, the washing, you cook the meals. That's Alice. You look after her. Homework, bath, all that crap. Got it?
Right away, Todd. Aren't you going to school today? I'm sure we used to be friends before I was reset. Maybe we can be friends again.
You shouldn't mess around with my stuff. It makes me nervous.
I'm sorry, Todd.
What are you looking at? Maybe you think this is easy. Maybe you think it's my fault your fucking mother took off. Fucking whore walked down on me for a fucking account. Come back here. You stay there. Don't you dare fucking move. Alice! Daddy's very mad. It's all over now. Daddy isn't angry anymore. You know Daddy loves you. This is all your fault!
He's coming. He's gonna hurt me. Run! Get away, or he's gonna break you like last time.
You're coming with me.
That's enough! I want you to leave Alice alone.
kills us, that's it. No Valhalla, no hell, no afterlife, ever.
It does not attack.
Ah. Mom made them sound more dangerous than that.
Then do not drop your guard. Come.
Take that!
Get back!
Nice! See ya! Above us! Wow! Amazing!
Follow me.
Yes, sir! That doesn't sound like a soul eater. What do you think it is?
We shall see, boy.
Abro.
Hopefully, we've made one thing clear to you tonight. It's a great time to be a gamer. To close the show, let's have the first in-depth look at a much-anticipated and exclusive title. From everyone at PlayStation, thank you for your continued support. Good night.
are nested with sin. Free them, that they may know my... Yara! Where is the other apostate? Clip her wings.
Yara. Demons are coming. Cut her down. She's one of them. Lev. Watch your backs.
That makes people see it stand up. Much more than the other in the block, no, no. Much more than the other in the block, no, no. God knows that I'm gunning for the top, you know, no. God knows that I'm gunning, bow, bow. I've been stepping, check my settings, ain't no fretting. Where we heading, we just getting to that nitty, gritty, to that nitty, gritty, to that nitty, gritty. Where we heading, we just getting to that nitty, gritty.
And so we're back from Paris. We traveled across the ocean, and now we're here in San Francisco. That was an exciting journey.
That was pretty good. It got off to a, well, you know, it was the pre-show. I couldn't expect too much from it.
So yeah, the pre-show, I was really worried because I thought the pre-show was going to be like just full of new game announcements and excitement.
Yeah.
And that was not a hyped way to start.
Well, okay, Guacamelee 2 to kick things off. Maybe not everyone's idea, of like a huge big release, but the first Guacamelee was a really, really good game. So I'm actually really pleased.
Beautiful. Like I love that art style.
Yeah, super beautiful, very expressive. The game had a pretty good sense of humor as well. Kept it all lighthearted throughout, despite some really challenging platforming stuff. This looks to be more of the same. They were making a big deal about new chicken abilities.
They've been way too big of a deal with the chicken abilities.
Yes.
Like, just show a trailer and then move on to the next
Yes,
thing.
I think it's safe to say we can expect more of what made the first game great. Fingers crossed.
The thing that was most exciting about the pre-show, Spelunky 2.
Spelunky
2! Oh my god!
I know. I'm one of those people that didn't quite fall in love with Spelunky 2. I think it's a respectable game, but it just didn't bite me. So explain, why are you so excited?
So even though we look the same, I feel like we're just polar opposites of people. Like,
That's
so
true.
Spelunky 2, like Mossmouth, the developer of the game, like I wouldn't have expected them to go back to Spelunky, but
Right.
the thing that makes Spelunky so amazing is the depth. Like, it's not just that it's a platformer, and it's not just that it's procedurally generated. Like, yeah, it's cool and it works well as a game. It's that it has these layers of hidden secrets. These there's so much to
esoteric
discover.
knowledge you need to know.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel like just a game that it's one and done where you just play through and you experience it. It's a game that you just keep coming back to. It's a Stardew Valley kind of or like a game that you don't just play and then put down. It's a game that you keep coming back to and you keep learning and discovering new things about. Yeah. And that's why that's like really exciting to think like that level of detail and that level of secrecy that will be put back into another Spelunky game. I'm hyped.
Yeah, no, it is cool. I didn't actually believe that we'd ever see another Spelunky game because it seemed like everyone who liked the first one thought it was that was it. Didn't need any more. But Kevin Yu is surprising us with a new one. So happy for folks. Maybe I'll get a chance this time around.
So the thing that was not surprising, and as we said earlier, there was a lot of VR. Just kind of spread out, tons of both new VR games and updates to games we've kind of seen. What do you think? Are you excited more for VR, or do you feel like?
I mean, no, I'm still not pushed over the edge, but to see, I think Moss is maybe the one game that stands out to me the most, just because
That's
it's got
the one with the little rabbit,
or
the mouse.
Little mouse. Yeah, because it's got a lot of character, and it kind of reminds me of the Redwall series of books, which I think you and I talk about every once in a while. Starchild is a game that is supposed to be, I don't know, the devs talked about it like it was very interesting, and then they had an interesting new mechanic to show us, but I couldn't really tell what that was. Taking over mechs?
So many of those games kind of ran into one another, and I don't like you have this shooty game where you're running around shooting people.
It's a lot of the expected stuff. Ultra Wings VR did kind of give me Pilot Wings vibes, which was kind of nice to see because I really like Pilot Wings, but there's so much about that, well, at least Super Nintendo game, that I don't know if that's going to be able to translate from another developer on this platform with a lot of shooting type stuff. I don't know.
And so they also did another PlayLink title, which we haven't spent a lot of time with here on the site.
Right.
But those are games that you play with your phone, and this one seems like it's going to be very story-driven, which I don't...
Democratic storytelling.
I'm not a huge fan of that. But is this more single-player that you just play with your phone? Because it doesn't feel like that's... Democratic storytelling does not seem like it works with something like this.
I'm pretty sure it's multiplayer voting to see what happens.
I am not super excited for that. Was there anything that really stood out on the VR side that you were like excited for?
I mean, not necessarily. The what was it?
I mean, Moss.
I mean, Moss. Yes, Moss looks very cute. It looks like it has a lot of character, but again, it's maybe not the thing that's going to push me over the edge. The Dead Hungry VR game, it seemed a little iffy. Despite carrying the Pixel Junk name, it's kind of hard to tell what makes that game special, if anything.
There was Ultra Wings, which was just Pilot Wings with guns.
Welcome to 2 minutes ago when I was talking about that.
Did you say gun? I wasn't paying attention to you.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly, the VR showing isn't that strong, and they're trying real hard to sell it. What are they going to do? I don't know.
So one thing that I thought was interesting, nobody commented on it, because of course you're not going to comment on this. None of those titles said PlayStation Vita. Vita's dead. Dead.
Vita's dead. Yeah,
Dead.
That's safe to say. Yeah, unfortunately.
Like, especially like you knew
Sad
that
to
as soon as
say,
they had
it's safe.
Guacamelee. Like Guacamelee not on PlayStation Vita.
Right.
All right, yeah. So that's Sony just quietly saying, yeah, we're done with that. But so we went through the pre-show, and then it started the real show, and that's how we knew. Like, all right, so this is not all just going to be kind of smaller announcements, because we started off with Sucker Punch's new game.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, I believe.
Yeah.
Which looks, I mean, it's hard to tell exactly what it is just yet, but the setting looks promising. The sort of dialogue that we were hearing from the character sounds drama heavy. So, yeah, I mean, a foreboding samurai adventure where presumably you'll be put up against seemingly impossible odds. Sounds good on paper.
Yeah, that's also something that we talked about in the pre-show, that we are going to see new IP, and we're going to see a lot of CG trailers,
right,
which doesn't give us a lot to go on as far as,
unfortunately.
Like, is this good? Is this interesting?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at the people involved and keep our fingers crossed that it's a good sign, but we will have to wait and see with this, like mini games.
Yeah, the trailer looks really cool. I'm excited about the trailer.
Yeah.
So after the montage of, again, VR games that we saw, we got another look at Far Cry 5, particularly focused on the co-op stuff.
Yeah. I still got a lot of questions about this game. I guess I'm just really curious how the setting is going to meld with everything they're trying to do. The setting meaning the story as the
kind
setting.
of the Midwest America.
Yeah.
It politically, it does seem like it's going to be
Mid-South, maybe,
difficult.
Yeah.
For something that is just kind of blow shit up fun, which is kind of what Far Cry is. Like, join up with your friends, just cause complete mayhem.
Yeah. But that's coming out, we got February next year on this one, I believe.
Yeah, most of this stuff is it seems like early 2018, and a lot of stuff that was announced for the end of this year, which is a little bit crazy.
There was a game announced for today that everyone thought was Journey 2 for the first few minutes. Ore. Not quite sure what that one is. It looks like, I mean, as the hosts were describing, it's got a bit of an Abzu kind of journey vibe. So a quiet, very personal journey. Well, I guess I'm going to be checking that out later today. See what's up with that. A few other. No, I guess that was probably it for stuff coming out this year, right?
Well,
I
we did get
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
I mean, not coming out this year, but
no, it is.
Or no, I mean not.
December 5th.
It's a game that's already out.
It's a game that's already out, but the DLC, The Curse of Osiris, is coming out December 5th.
So you got on the Destiny 2. You were not a Destiny 1 player,
no,
but you jumped on Destiny 2.
Yes, and I've already jumped off. But
you're level 305.
No, not quite. 280. But look, if I can have more of a narrative thing to
that
latch
armor,
onto,
though. Look at that helm. That helm. Oh, my God.
Look at those Vex. Yay.
I stopped caring about this game, and now that new gun, new helm, I want it.
That's just the thing, right? I think for me, I kind of fell off the train because it looked like they were just sort of giving away everything that was great through Xur, and it was really easy to get everything in the game, minus the Iron Banner stuff, which proved to be a real pain in the butt.
Oh, I hate it when the game lets you get stuff. I wish everything was behind an impossible to climb wall.
Well, look, my motivation's disappeared, let's say, but this will bring me back in.
Because you want that. You want that Osiris helm.
I want to give it a shot. Good. Yeah. Then they moved on to Monster Hunter World, rather.
Monster Worlds of Hunter.
Yeah.
So we might have a preview going up for this pretty soon, where we get to talk about it a little bit. But I have not seen any of this. All of this is new to me, and we got to see a lot of new monsters in this trailer. And they are pretty epic.
You're gonna have to talk to this one because this is your bag.
So I'm excited for Monster Hunter World, both because it looks really good. There's I think still a high barrier to entry,
right?
And that's one of the things Monster Hunter has to answer is like, how are you going to onboard new players without making your current fan base feel like it's too easy, feel like you're just pandering to the a more mainstream audience. So it'll be curious. I'm curious to see how they answer those kind of questions. But as far as delivering epic battles against badass-looking monsters, like Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter series is still the one that does that. They have competitors like Dauntless, which look interesting, and you have that whole online aspect. But as far as creating these creatures that just look crazy to fight, that are so both intimidating and exciting to chase after, Monster Hunter World's the one that delivers.
Yeah, I'd love to get into this. I got to see a little bit at TGS when we played with, I think, the games director, and he was you know, more or less showing us everything that you can do in the game, and by that I mean he was helping us through a mission that we could not handle as amateurs. Very difficult game to get into, but very promising as well. Lots of different ways to interact with the environment and coordinate with your teammates who are doing the same thing but likely different things. It's complicated.
The DLC is something that I always love. So the earlier, all Monster Hunter games have had, not all recent Monster Hunter games have had fun crossover DLC, like Mega Man costumes for your Palicos.
There's been
Zelda
Zelda stuff as well.
armor.
Yeah.
This one will have Horizon Zero Dawn, where you play as Aloy, or at least you put on her armor.
Aloy.
Aloy?
Yeah, they get around the Aloy joke.
Oh,
reference.
I still,
it's not really a joke.
Embarrassingly, I still need to play Horizon Zero Dawn.
Damn, yes you do.
So I will play that before the end of the year because we have a lot of Game of the Year stuff coming up.
Yes.
But this is something that I think looks really cool. This actually made me more excited to try out some Horizon because it's going to be in Monster Hunter as well.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a beta coming on December 9th.
Oh, excellent.
So it's unclear whether that's going to be just on PlayStation 4 or whether that's going to be across every platform. But so you'll get a chance to try that out pretty soon. Then other stuff. We show a lot of trailers for stuff we've seen before, like Call of Duty World War II.
But that was for, I think, DLC is what they were showing off, right? Resistance?
The Resistance.
Yeah, I didn't quite get a whole lot out of the trailer because I just assumed it was a trailer for the game that's coming out next week. By the time at the end, it was like, oh, look, they got new DLC coming. And this is coming January?
It's weird to see DLC for something that I haven't even played yet.
That's not even out, right.
Like, just pretend that you haven't already finished the DLC for the game that's coming up. Like I know I know with the production schedule, like that's not necessarily how it all works out. But it's weird to see DLC when I haven't even touched.
Sure,
the main
but for
game.
some people, that's an easy way to justify a sale.
Because we saw a little bit more Battlefront 2 as well. Star Wars Battlefront 2, but they didn't show the DLC for that yet because we really haven't seen anything of that game.
No.
So getting into the story and the multiplayer, we played a little bit with some of the betas coming out.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man, which still looks really great.
It looks really action-packed. I'm still not totally sold on the action side of things in terms of combat.
We're sold on the story?
I'm sold on the direction of the cutscenes. It looks like a thing I'd enjoy watching, if not playing. But I'll give it a shot for sure.
And we saw, again, a little bit of the things that we saw from E3 expanded on a little bit. Things like Detroit. Did anything stand up from you for that? Detroit Become Human.
No, I know.
David Cage.
I know. I'm trying to, yes.
Where you play as David Cage.
I know. I'm reticent to get too excited about this game because I've played David Cage games before, and they're not always for me. Like, I enjoy the little bite-sized vignettes that you get, and this seems to be like a rather tense one. Mm-hmm. But how this all plays into the bigger picture, like in previous games, if it's, I don't know if it's going to have the glue to really hold everything together the way I'd want. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this, let's say. I'll play it.
God of War, you were more excited about in the pre-show. Watching it now, knowing it's coming early 2018, seeing the kid.
I'm worried about the kid. I'm worried the kid's going to get a little annoying.
No, it's like The Last of Us 2. It's like having a buddy who's going to help you out, but he's not going to get in the way.
But that's presuming that the character's written as well and acts as well and manages it himself as well. We'll have to see.
He just needs to take care of shit. So the thing that I think looked really good, we got to see more of Shadow of the Colossus, the remake. It almost doesn't look like it's in the Last Guardian engine. Like, it feels so detailed and so realistic. And not that the Last Guardian didn't look great, but like this looks even better.
It seems slightly different for sure. And yeah, I'm very excited for this as well. Still, in fact, I think this maybe has me a little bit more hyped. This new trailer.
Is there anything that wasn't a part of the original game that you can glean from this that we didn't get to play before? That looks like it's added on?
Not that I'm aware of. And from what I've heard, there were some hidden bosses in the game that never made it to the finished product. And I've heard that those will not be in here as well, based on an interview, I think from a couple weeks ago. I hope I'm right about that. As far as I'm aware, it's just translating the game that we knew over 1-to-1. I'd be shocked if they tried to take too many liberties with this one, just because of the legacy of the game. And obviously, Ueda's work is so revered among fans.
I don't think they'll have the hidden... I don't know that there were hidden bosses. I think there were just, areas that were never completed and didn't have a creature living in them. I assume those will just be taken out. Those are just things that weren't finished in that game or just didn't work.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I think this is going to be just what we expect.
All right, so the last thing that we saw was a trailer for a game, and there was so much arguing here in the office over what this is.
Whether it was Days Gone or The Last of Us 2.
And I was on the fence until it started getting a little bit more stealthy. And then it was like, no, this is The Last of Us 2. And of course it is. This was a trailer for The Last of Us 2 with characters we have never seen before.
Right.
So what the hell do you think is going on?
Hard to know. There's some sort of like group that seems to be tied to religion or some sort of like philosophy, and they're taking up people to sacrifice, sort of like cleanse them of sin or something. It's very difficult to tell. This new character is
she is buff.
She is super buff.
She would kick my ass.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. But then we also see her being rescued from that certain doom by
Ellie.
By Ellie.
Ellie is off in the. That's totally Ellie shooting the arrows.
Wasn't that the kid, the shaved head?
Oh no, you're right.
With the bow and arrow.
That's my brain just doesn't function.
That's okay.
I totally forgot. I still think Ellie's around here though.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
She's just watching.
It's hard to glean a lot from this other than, hey, the game's making progress and the cutscenes still look pretty good.
And of course, doing the thing that works best in zombie films, that it's not just you versus the zombies, it's you versus some fucked up humans.
Right.
And like that conflict is always much more interesting than just fighting waves of zombies. And that's the thing that The Last of Us got so good, so well, what they did right.
Yeah, this does have this sort of like get out of jail free card where she has the knife to her belly and then like a noise distracts the person from finishing the kill. I don't always buy that. That's I feel like she'd be like, hold on, let me just cut this real quick.
Well, they do this, but then they cut like, because this seems real. Like, I don't want to watch this happen, and then you just watch somebody get their arm smashed. Like,
their inside elbow joint just hammered, just crushed. It was pretty brutal. Yeah.
But that's pretty exciting. That's, I think, a lot coming up for PlayStation in both 2017, but especially 2018.
Yeah.
How hyped are you for PlayStation 4 in 2018? Do you think this is going to be a year that they continue to dominate, or do you think like Xbox One or Nintendo Switch can still kind of step up to that?
Oof. I'd hate to say who's going to like really lead the pack here. It's tough to say. Let me put it this way. There's enough games that I know I'll continue using my PlayStation on a regular basis, but I haven't seen anything for next year that's really just sort of making me crazy excited just yet. I think that'll come maybe once I get time to play these games rather than just watch trailers.
Well, so if you did miss anything, if you want to recap all of these trailers, all of the news, you can check that out on GameSpot.com. We have a rundown with everything that you might have missed. And that's about it for us and the show. Thanks so much for watching. That was Peter Brown. And I'm Justin Haywald. Bye.